Hey guys, once again, Forristicat back once more. Just finished Halo 4 and I thought, why not make a video review straight away with all the sort of thoughts of the game in my head just after completing it. So first and foremost, what can I say? Like, this game is a very impressive game, and with the change of developer came a change of the graphics, the story, and the way the game is played. So, off the top of my head, there are many things I like about this game. Number one is probably the story. Like, the story. Okay, how can I put this? Okay, it's actually a two-sided coin. For me, the whole story of all these different alien races trying to grab some artifact, but they can't do it until they do something else. Unfortunately, that side is sort of getting a little bit played out now. To be honest, I found it sort of hard to follow this story. Like, I wasn't really sure exactly what was happening. Like, the whole didact and the composer, you know what, it really wasn't really that compelling storytelling ideas. It seems like this has been played out a little bit too much. And this goes back to what I was saying before in the Walking Dead review, probably below, somewhere here. In that, once you sort of have your baseline, once you've like gone to a particular emotional level in terms of storytelling, you can't get that same effect or reaction from people until you exceed it. So with Halo 3, like, the whole premise was like, finish the fight, come to Earth. We're going to end the fight on Earth. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be defending, the place we're sort of living in. And once that was done, it's like, okay, it's been done before, so they're just doing it again. So that's whole sort of like idea of the aliens acquiring some weapon and having to stop artifacts and stuff like that. Story-wise, didn't really care much for it. Character-wise, the Forerunners, just visually the way like all these guns sort of operate, especially like all the gravity guns that you sort of like, the bolt shot or whatever, how like it pulls, the gravity's like pulling it together as you reload. Animation-wise, from a purely like technical standpoint, it was really amazing. Probably one of my favorite visual moments in the game is when you're going through like in that ship, you're like going through this sort of like tunnel or whatever, and then boom, like you see Earth right in front of you, and you see this massive sort of like firefight happening below you. That was really something great. And I think any video game, and I'm sort of like disappointed that Mass Effect 3 didn't exploit this more, but any video game that sort of goes towards Earth, well, that's going to be compelling because we live on the planet Earth. So, I mean, another example is, war games like your Call of Duties and stuff, when you see like all these crazy things happening around famous landmarks or whatever, it's like, okay, you have an idea of those landmarks in your head and you're interacting with these environments from a fantastical, storytelling video game perspective, which makes them enjoyable. So just to see Earth and to have that firefight happen like outside of Earth was very well done. Secondly, the motion capture of some of these cutscenes is really amazing, and I'm starting to think of them as sort of like, it's almost as if you're watching a DVD now. And I don't know how they do it. I don't really know the technical processes behind it, but it really is amazing stuff just to see like all the nuances of their eyes and the way that they're. I mean, the people that make this are incredible, man. They're incredible. Like, just how their eyes sort of move as they're thinking, and like the tonality of their voice. And I read a couple of reviews saying that the voice acting in this game is fantastic, and now I understand why. Like, and that leads me to my next point. Like, there was a lot of emotion in this game that wasn't present in other Halo games. Halo ODST sort of touched on it a little bit, and Halo Reach was sort of pushing. Like, there was, like I mentioned, I think in my Halo Reach video, there was almost like an epic moment in Halo Reach, and this game really was taking steps towards it even more, from the tonality of the voice acting and the sort of these cutscenes, which were just so well animated. And it's interesting, for at least me, like if you have these things in place, like actually have a good story, engage me in terms of caring about what happens in the game, that makes my game experience so much more enjoyable. That's not to say you shouldn't have a good video game, like it shouldn't be like practically beatable and like fun to play, but combine those same elements with like a good story, some characters I care about, and it really does add to my enjoyable experience of the game. So as I mentioned, this was a more of an emotional experience, and it goes without saying that the most interesting part about the story in this game is Master Chief's relationship with Cortana. So it makes sense for the storytellers, the writers here, to sort of realize that like how long can you extend the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana. So they took a risk of killing her off with rampancy, or the way I interpret it is like a computer virus. So that was a very good choice, because it really did affect me. Like seriously, like it was like almost like a romantic relationship between this AI and Master Chief. And so in the end, like when they're in that room together and she just disappears, and then like he's just standing there at the end when he gets on the ship, talking to that commander-in-chief or whatever, and he's saying, I'm not going to try and understand what you're feeling, but like I've lost loved ones as well, but not to the extent that you've lost Cortana or whatever. So I'm like, damn, this is really interesting, like aspect to Master Chief, like really exploring, like like Cortana and Master Chief have been through like a lot, and now she's gone, and that was really clever, and well, not clever, but it was compelling storytelling, put it that way. And that opens the doors for maybe a new AI and new storytelling options in the future. So very well done. The whole like as you're playing the game and she keeps on getting worse and worse and worse, it sort of keeps you on edge, like what's going to happen next, can you rescue her, this, that and the other. So unfortunately she could not be rescued. Another thing I really liked about this game is I like to think of it as like the Call of Duty interface, which is to say, as you're like walking through the game, you're pushing buttons, and like you see like his hand come out like from right in front of you, and puts you in the perspective of like all the stuff that's happening within him. So like it's very movie like, and it really does engage me personally. So example is at the end, when you're about to kill the Didact, from his perspective he like looks down and you see his hand dangled, and he looks back up again, and then like as he's crawling towards him, you see his hands crawling. You have to push the joystick like as fast as you can or whatever to get to him. Whenever games do that, I love it. Why? Because I'm close to television, and it really does like put me in the storytelling urgency of what's happening. So that's fantastic. That happens to the extreme in Heavy Rain, where the game developers sort of like try to match the sort of feel of what you're doing with the buttons with the actual actions you're taking, to the point where when you're smashing a car window, you like have to chuck the PlayStation 3 controller across the room, stuff like that. Basically anything that can absorb more in the experience of a video game combined with good storytelling, I'm going to love. So that was fantastic. The design of the Forerunners, I already mentioned. The visual design of the game was really great. I was very aware of like repetitiveness in this game. This happened before, like for example, okay, destroy that shield over there. Okay, there's one more left over there, and then like once I destroy one, I'm thinking, oh great, so then I have to do the exact same thing all over again. It's just going to be a repeat, so I'm just going to go over there and just repeat myself. And whenever you have to repeat yourself in a video game, it's not as enjoyable because you've done it before, unless it's something enjoyable. But there's always a danger of boring the gamer from just copying and pasting these methodical things that you have to do in a video game. And I think I can't remember exactly what part it was, but I was doing something in the game and I'm thinking, okay, that's part one, it's going to give me to do 2 more times, and it's going to be exactly the same design. But lo and behold, when I went through the door, it was actually a little bit of a different design, and it was a little bit different what I had to do. So when the game keeps you on your toes and keeps it fresh, fantastic, and kudos to the developers for doing that. So else to say, I pretty much said all to say.
every video, I guess, doesn't have to go for 10 minutes, otherwise I'll just be talking nothing. I will say that, yeah, like, it does feel like they're pushing this franchise in good direction. And, you know, there's been a couple of less than positive games with, you know, like Halo 3, like, it wasn't that good as, you know, the hype. You know, the good games sort of, you know, like a rising tide lifts all. I really think, like, if you just think of, like, the whole Halo franchise as a whole, it's pretty damn good, man. If you just see, like, image of Master Chief against, like, background, boom, you got, like, iconic poster they can use to promote the gamers, which means that, you know, they have, you know, they made some mistakes and of the Halo games are viewable. They made more good decisions, which means that it's going to be an enjoyable ride for him. You know, as the message, you know, when you complete it for, you know, like a great journey because of one step. Yes, for, you know, trusting us that your universe is going to be care of, and we're going to, you know, put the game out. We hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, for overall, it's just a very cool experience to play. As I mentioned, I love, like, the Call of Duty sort of interface and, like, how on screen you see your stuff. It's hard to write this, holy yeah. I think this is, yeah. Okay,